all day. Ekosiisen dwumadi no wasugu so a utie no ma yenhyase ne yenin komo se de yede kan de ato manim no mensa aka the Honorable John Jenapo, or a member of parliament for the people of Yape Kosogo, or a former deputy energy minister. Wabekansa, and currently member of the finance committee and chairman of ranking member on the mines and energy committee. Into member finance committee, ranking mines and energy committee. Dr. Stephen Amoa, MP, Ewunshiayeso constituency, or a member of the finance committee in Ghana's parliament. And we are reviewing the president's statement in these troubling economic times. And now no kwesia dana najo 8 p.m. Speech that lasted for 28-30 minutes. Now, immediately after the speech, no, Honorable John Jenapo post or said the most uninspiring, boring, and monotonous speech ever. Nothing new, nothing inspiring, and certainly no hope. Honorable, was this a fair assessment of the what say Omanpenyi Ede Atujano?
There's no doubt that we are in crisis. I mean, you didn't need a president to tell you, sir, we are in crisis. If in less than 1 year, petroleum prices have shot up by more than 200%, in fact, it means that you are in serious crisis. And at this year, about 23. At the beginning of the year, not this year, about 6. 100% would have been 12. 200 would have been 18. It's about 300. It's about 300 because 300 will take you to 24.
Yeah.
And if you are 23 point something now, that means that in less than 1 year, diesel cost about 300%. And on a day, and so be brave because fuel no in energy economics you are told say energy is an intermediate commodity. Here now the you don't consume diesel. Here diesel now the you don't consume electricity direct. Here electricity now the IABB. It's an input.
Yeah.
And once that input no cost no, a money may be cost.
That's true.
Osha inflation hit 40%. Your currency in there, baby, I don't know Friday. Within 1 week, be there. And move from bear 12 to bear 15 as a 16. A day, I want you to be brave. Senior worker no President Mama called for a national dialogue. Think you na baby, I don't know politics and twinching. Na yen trans in yen komo. We might make some concessions, some suggestions. Ebeboa. Konyense ni ba ko fotu. Okan ya anye and also baby I don't know the suggestions 94.7 to a year forum and the suggestions to one was on Tema oil refinery. 2 no say a sugar factory, no matter the challenges. No muscle because the import bill on sugar now is quite a huge amount. Bupe processing, Shano processing factory, yeah, Kone Jumakama. Say I say and you say to me export of share butter non kwano is a huge source of revenue. Okay, say buffer stock. Yenyeri hona ye mope aduane because this is the harvesting season.
Yeah.
Because normally when you are in crisis, no, the first thing you look at is food security. So when you you should look at that and sana your health and any other enema. Ntino owie no na mampanyi so say obe address ye. Ntini nyina ye hwese omampanyi de enema bi odebetuja immediately no a besonia man. And when I say immediately can me hear say ene first ene de koidie
osanka
immediate 1 2 3 bi na amaniama no aba form kakra. Me that's what I was expecting. Of course he will talk about the medium term, he will talk about the long term. The immediate things that we are in crisis until here urgent solutions are you bet me they are so no kakra. I'm being frank with you. I listened to him throughout. I didn't get a sense that there's any immediate solution. So bet me one example you bet you come. I can't pinpoint one. Until I made first sticker PhD or general. I'm one friend of mine. Why?
Doctor Sticker.
Doctor, yes, it be a debate. I can't say a debate outside the studio. Mon friend of mine. Mon friend. Yeah, you were alive, bruh. Share oh my. What they are costing?
Inti now we can say from the 12 measures no man penny the two jam.
Yes.
One T a BI immediate.
Yeah, which of them is immediate? Which of them? You also your analysis power.
Okay.
If you can pinpoint one,
yeah, let me maybe we'll go
for example. For instance, we'll say there will be no haircut.
Sure.
Me tell me many G. Or say there will be no haircut on your investment. Ade anche. And the means of information because no haircut no. He is referring to principal.
Yes, so there will be no haircut on your deposit on your principal.
What is the meaning of that? You can't haircut. Simply put, it means that you take a hit.
Yes.
You take a hit.
Yes.
So what your investment? Say be binti na what your investment. Ti enfan say insuo Voltic. $100. I don't need that water today. Me here water no echina. Nti na me de $100 no.
Abrel.
E koma buy because I buy investment no.
94.7
in finance no your friend risk free rates. Because I buy the no matter what on default.
Yeah.
I mean this I buy defaulted. In fact I think that in the Fourth Republic this is the first time I buy a defaulted. Minti bida. Me who be so that say I buy government the sovereign a defaulted. Nti me de ma buy the first thing interest no is to cater for the time value of money. And inflation is 30%. Until we 100, you know. In maybe a 6 months time, no, it will be 130 cedi. Until you buy back as interest rate, you know, 30%. So that in 6 months, no, me 130, I'll buy the same water. I'm not worse off. I'm not better off. Maybe near the margins, near risk premium, near other margins. We have to. But the first thing about interest, which is the price of money, is restitution, which is the interest rate. That's the first thing. Just for parity. It is a banker said, 100 need the mint, so but interest now me the amount. That's a hit. That's a haircut.
Now, so the time value.
The time value of money has been reduced. That's why in finance they tell you that $1 today is not the same as $1 tomorrow. And so you ought to be compensated for keeping my money. I buy so I me 100 seed. What do you call your baby? Some for something you did.
Yeah.
Now some the amount not they call your baby. Now say my interest now. Haven't I taken a cut?
The other thing, and I think in the same speech, no, President Mbeki reference to the banking sector cleanup, and the fact said Onoa stood his ground, said depositors bear 4-point-something million, or more deposit in a year, it should not be hit. And he said, say a similar thing would happen with these investments.
People took a huge hit. That is not true, Mr. President.
Or more deposit.
The deposit, the catch rate was deposit for the next 2 years. Upe say year it will be discounted. You are in this country. That's what they told the people. Me 100 cedi da ho. What say for the next 2 years? Won't me for 100 ne mame. Say me 100 ne dia 8 na menya. Is that not a haircut? You see, President Yesreno, he shouldn't play semantics with us. He shouldn't do that. I mean, we are way above that. And you monkwan and nim finance and don't come and attempt to dribble us. Or as a principal will not be tied. Do you know when the principal will be paid?
Among far time.
For mine, till let's even assume such an because anyway, what the interest among my principal mommy. You will see what will happen. Because you want that money to do something.
Yeah.
If say CBG meboa.
Yeah.
Eka say music and intimate farm within the next 2 years. If you want, we'll discount it and give you 8 years. Is that not a haircut? Please stop that. It's not fair. It's not proper. And I think that when the president communicates, he should communicate with clarity. The president person ko kase principal ko beka. The president doesn't speak with ambiguity. He would have said no principal will be affected. Or say your investment. What is your investment?
There will be no haircut.
Your investment is your principal and interest.
In fact, I'll say ensure no haircut. And this is the summary and information ministry I publish here, you know. Ensure no haircut to treasury bail holders in the debt restructuring strategy.
Yeah, if there is no haircut, my money with you is the principal and the interest. That's my investment. Then why do I even invest? And that's somebody met to me fee. If say 100 in them, somebody to me fee. It met to me fee. And most of the investments are even done through the banks. There were investment advisors, almost take akra. Almost take akra. Until this issue said nothing happened. And stop raising people's hope beyond a certain level. This thing started in March. Vice President Kazankasa be interview. That day, Nami Otakwa, Uno invite interview me and you interviewed me. I told you the panic and then Juma. Anya Juma. We Minister of Finance and Kasa be press conference. Listed near maybe Anya Juma because what they were seeking to do was to stem the tide of inflation. Deal with the currency. And other consequences. Because there are two main things that you have to tackle now: the currency depreciation and inflation. If you can deal with these two, the rest would fall in line. Anya Juma, President Ankasa Beka, Hekati. Now we are hearing different ministers across the country. Also, we got petroleum at a cheaper price. Where?
Tackle cost of living by working to stabilize prices of petroleum products through new supply arrangements.
One I was deregulation on Zenim. I buy a catcher here. Tell my young car say, young Shani and Yibin. I buy a catcher say, fool, don't want to be young she. Nanyomona Kofaba. There's also new fuel arrangements. Make I me school. Yes, a smart acronym. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Where is the time? Maybe to try this in the next 1 month, in the next 2 months. Then so man penyensi within 1 month you'll be try. And you crown because yes, sir, you will set a 1 month by more idea. But I'm asking myself, why is he going to get that finished product?
Enra Kojo upon Chroma Bar Hano Mebusano the question about timelines, and he was like, Omanpenyi ama the broad strokes. It is here the ministries and agencies in charge, would have to now come and give the specifics, which would include timelines.
The ministries and agencies would have briefed the president that, Mr. President, when it comes to fuel, we've done A, B, C, D. We are optimistic that by the end of November, by then we would get it. The president Kasaya, then the next day, and within this week, the minister for energy would then follow up and start speaking to it and giving some assurance. But you see, we're talking of finished products. Finished products, a refinery.
Yeah.
Refineries face two basic hurdles.
94.7.
The input is fixed. It's determined at the world market price. Output it is fixed. It's determined. It's regulated. MPN a determined price with a ceiling.
Yeah.
And you go cheaper way. Dangote wana okwaji na refinery be wana okwaji. Why? And I'm saying the ministry should be telling us something. But there's something I expect as a President Beka Wanka. You see, around August, the betu just said, the tracks bini Ministry of Agriculture.
Yeah. Government market. They will create government market.
That's not worked.
Accra. No, they've not done it.
They've not done it.
Yeah.
I was expecting, say, President Ika said prices are cost rate.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why prices are cost rate, market women, they are rational. In a perfect market competition, Senka your monopoly system.
Yeah.
And you for monopolistic competition,
and a perfect competition.
This is a perfect market system.
Yes.
Traders money.
Yes.
It's a perfect market.
Yes.
The price is determined by demand and supply. And they are price takers. If you enter in economic data, they are price takers. With the rate of inflation, currency falling, it's only normal that they price to hedge against that risk. And can you imagine if the president can earlier, Juma, what president would do is say, look, as commander-in-chief, I've authorized that X amount of grain should be released from our silos and from our warehouses into the markets. It immediately stabilizes the system. That is what buffer stock ought to be doing. In the north, after you harvest money, move buffer stock and let them mop up all the grains.
And for me go,
because Ghana, no, about 30% of your losses is attributable to post-harvest issues.
Yeah.
It is ultimately more opinion. More often, I see one constituency as a one district, one warehouse.
One warehouse, yes.
I went to the warehouse in Bupe. It's empty. Bupe, and I'm telling you, if it is a live program, it's a Minister of Agriculture here, check from Bupe. But the worst of all, Ukraine say, it's no say. Flooding be about painting a call. A fat warehouse, no.
Oh,
flooding not fat warehouse, no. And if you want to store grains, the first thing you want is an airy, dry area.
Yeah.
You don't put it by the riverside. And now you get a higher elevation and put it there.
Yeah.
The president's biggest opportunity was to have announced, say, following the task force that I set previously, so we've been able to accumulate X quantity of rice, X quantity of maize. Now food prices are increasing. So I've ordered, say X quantity should be released in this area, in that area, in that area. That signaling alone calms the market.
But only alternative, they say.
NCC for no more.
So, I say, encourage traders to tone down profiteering, which is contributing to inflationary pressures.
The president got it completely wrong. They are not engaged in profiteering. Look, I'm telling you, offer.
Some of the increases in a area though.
When your currency is who are to open petrol by 300%, have they increased their prices by a corresponding amount? No, let's be honest. What we are buying now, under you petrol to by 300%. This market woman must go to the market. You know what some of them do? Cost thoughts I can see. No, I call GT tomatoes by 20.
Yeah.
No, they are big Gina Quayon. No, I turn them out, come, and you no, I call back to the big shop. No, I call your account. No, when you kakra, no, they are fat rotro, no, they are coffee. They are not profiteering. I'm telling you. And in that perfect market, Obi a person will turn the goods in them. If there was shortage, and then Crawford taking advantage of the shortage, and no more out price here.
Yeah.
And if there's collusion, say be a market to many akabum say tumu. Then that is profiteering. In a perfect market, it's very difficult for the whole country say to Musa. What to my top? Because look, salaries haven't increased though.
Yeah.
Salaries haven't increased that much. Until they say what to tuma yen top. And yema here can cooking oil in yema. People can do without them. Cooking oil is good, but I'm telling you, if you increase cooking oil like fritol beyond a certain threshold, you better jungle.
Yeah.
Because they are substitutes in a perfect market system. Until the president Canada, I don't see any evidence. It's the system, especially with the way that dollar need. The first thing you rather want to do is to halt the free fall of the cedi. It will send a signal because the market woman.
But how about Omoebeka said there are some products in our market any cedi any dollar ni twakebia.
Like what?
For products bisano say, for example, somebody put up a post on Facebook. Na or say onona or emo stock e wo fie. Na otone mo stock no ema obi 100 Ghana per bag. The person took delivery of the stock. Eddie go on the shop. And from the get go on no price no say 340.
You know why?
Ghana
cedis. You know why? You know why? There's another rice nearby. I tono 350. Nti me tono 300.
Yes.
You better. That's why you're forgetting. Say obiso importing more.
Okay.
Similar rice.
Okay.
So these are substitutes. In fact, they need ni milo. Need the milo ni bonvita.
Yes.
They are perfect substitutes.
Yes.
Say ma won't see a ton milo 4 cedi. Na me wo me bonvita. Na me turn 3.8 near better. Me turn 3.8.
Abra wo kofa no 1 cedi.
That is a perfect market system. That's how they operate. We will be now account on a Facebook. Sure. I haven't seen any, and I'm saying that these are normal.
Sure.
You know, I'm saying there's a president percent prices in the platform. He should tackle the currency.
Okay.
2, nka buffer stock to me Juma.
Sure.
Near Pushika Krashima, would you now increase
Obianto.
You will be compelled to bring it down. But moral suasion, moral suasion sometimes can have an effect, a very minimal impact. And if you look at central banks, as part of their tools on the open market operation, policy rating, moral suasion has a very, very minimal impact. I'm saying that we should rather look at the core issue and the key issues and deal with them.
Inflation, depreciation of the city.
These two. If you can tackle these two, the rest will fall.
And for you, for all the measures we put it out, we until the immediately tackle.
No, I don't see immediately what will deal with the forex situation.
Okay.
And the money will come. We'll see next year. They will look at banning certain products.
Yeah.
That is next year.
In 6 months.
Yes,
time?
I'm saying today, this month, as of November, what are we doing? Now we are like you say, Cocoa Sikaka Kraba. It has held the system a bit. But for how long? Can the cocoa money? Meanwhile, your crude import, petroleum product import is about $400 million per month.
Yeah,
not per annum, per month. And then what we are Odiabano. The Bank of Ghana attempted going after forex for EB.
Forex for no black market.
It pushed the
thin up.
Dollar up gradually withdrew. You don't do that in this current situation. When things are stabilized. But in this difficult current situation, people go underground, especially when Ghanaians are rushing to store their value in dollars, because the city is becoming worthless, and human beings are rational. Masa say me $1. Na say chinebeko say I'll keep it, and I me once in them say chinebeko I'll go and buy $1 today and keep it. That's why we have governments. Governments must deal with these challenges and deal with them head on. But I didn't see any immediate step. Say November. Say when November it will really impact. And you can see that fuel prices are going up, and the drivers are agitating again. And the cost the drivers are agitating. OPEC, so they are cutting back, and the impact and also eventually transportation will go up, and once fuel and transportation goes up, it's a pass through. It's a pass through. It would hit all the other products. I think the Omanpenyin should, yes, these are all issues is talked about, but I think that they should look at the immediate ones and see what can be done. Even government consumption, and then they should cut some of the government consumption and see how.
But he made the point, say the decision to cut or more salaries by 30%, will still continue.
So in finance and economics, you ask the impact analysis. What is the impact? If they cut 30% and they are still guzzling fuel at this cost, it may be meaningless. Until they want to see the impact. I'm cutting 30%. In any proper democracy, once the president says I'm cutting this, he will follow it by saying that it will make a savings of X amount. I mean, that is rational. You want to see something like that. I didn't hear anything in respect
figure
of those things. And I'll say next year they will continue by cutting 30% discretionary.
So
where from that one? How next year? Next year you're doing a new budget. This year budget and I will cut it. Next year budget, if you want to reduce whatever, you factor that.
November,
no, but you can't cut 30% of next year's discretionary. Then allocate a smaller amount for them.
Sure.
Because it's a new budget. This year, they were your budget, they are passing appropriation. So, what can I say? Originally envisaged amount of say 100 million, they may cut it by 30 years. Fine. But next year's budget is a completely new budget. If you think that goods and services should receive 60 million, you put it there. You can't say, me the 100 million as I had to obium and I'll cut it by 30%. I don't know who gave him that communication. Things are difficult.
One of the things I would want you to do to help, and they say, because of your background in energy and finance, say in terms of the immediate Nioma abang betimi to stem the rise in depreciation, you can't say fuel prices near the what are the immediate things abang betimi? Were those reflected in the speech at John Mahama? But Dr. Sticker Stephen Amwa, PhD.
Plenary potential.
Stephen Amwa.
So the plenary potential, I say.
Yes.
He has the potential.
Doc, inti se wo hwe baby a ye do sisia and Jeja ka se otie omampanyin no. Yes, otie some medium term, long term plans, but baby ye do sisia we needed immediate action, something to stem the tide. One ti baby sir in the speech, immediate ones no.
Okay, but that's it. Make sure you tie phone nyina.
How much also?
Na me da onso asese wo mam yakwanya.
Okay.
Na maba wanim. Na die edin kan no. Ade ba ko ene wo se Ghana for ehweniye. And not until we get to that level no. Boss, we should forget. And yama John to her walking. Senkomu wa bema enke ne yeka. What's the idea? And I your common items are
94.7
NDC, MPP, the Ghana for the boy, the any other boy who each other. Yes, are variables now. Or the Ghana party. And your exchange rate, inflation. And your inflation, fuel prices. Now for your back job. And you're more than a queen to do. Some boy, baby. Ibi eto da MPP who dancing NDC bebre kakra pro poor policies and the menu na hodi omuni bi hodi oma omuni man de ba kokora ya na me won but me fa ne sa na ne etia ne say mistake MPP NDC aye ne say hobi obia yonko wa bema opetumi agenti no na ofiwa gallon boy say ne apeja NDC ba no ma peja de bi di aba parliament instead say you be face realities say there be we are having the challenges today because as a country for about 40-50 years what we're supposed to do. So obi tell catch say exchange rate, currency's performance, short-term approach can solve it. Missing who and you know correct that there is no short-term approach. Yes, sustainable or you can solve. And you know correct. It is NDC ba na MPP ba ni $1 kakra guma. Because you see a fight between two parameters. Or there are two factors. One will be kwa. Either say wo ho den at a point in time. Oni akro yemre. Ana oni akro yemre. Ana say wo ho den. Eno de ho ene default. And san ye wo factors a ma ba ko ho den. Factors am ba ko ho den no ene de bia no dollar no wosoro no ho den say all things being equal because for a long time no we need long-term approach to solving currency issues yenye ne the two parties all nti o wa ne nya syndicated loans kakra yene yateso aba form and now by default dollar ne ye week and dollar no ho e dey cross you the dollar na nkasa no without bringing Ghana into the context dollar ho ahye na item
94.7
2 Adi na currency bi ehun ya dancing other currency in law we so free be inter alia among other factors
inter alia yes
but o dictionary pronounce say inter alia
okay
and am ka say inter alia ba kwa say inter alia because consonant ne vowel ni bi share thank you tini nyina but the meaning that I want to put across
amongst other things
but the money ko nyina ye demand simple. If we demand for somebody's currency more, originally, ritually, all currency there be a disadvantage unless something untoward happens. In Tiania, because your currency no, what and share then ya one papa be a da. We need to accept that fact, and then we be a crack. So how can you say, oh, your currency will be strong? It's not possible. We need to look at that fact. And until you know honest say me from going this me from going MPP me the boy man no near trans nya a prescribe long-term solution to it no you be up and down forever enkosi hwe first NDC first MPP second NDC second MPP they say what them boy it is a real dwana it depend on no bibi to ha na aggravate situation ade any samira no because me no kasa sisi me near your analysis be Yeah, na menye ebi ono aka menye compare because I'm trying to their politics there. You do trend analysis and compare over can be kakra. But na me try say can be say me jay no. But to do mo kind na over can be. When him say emra global inflation rate number 2%. Na Ghana yet 15.4%. Say
which year I want to
oh make us 2019 before COVID.
Good.
That time never say averagely.
Yeah.
Say na to UK say na 1.74. US now was about 1.81. All they say na yet 15.4. All they say and here me fan say the year 2016 honey adena na problem we am I no na Ghana 15.4. O check your percentage difference in increase no about say if I had it correct about 785.10%.
On
What they say
on the
tie o calculate here.
okay.
What they say o say you free baby you see when the entire e difficult to say UK 1%, Ivory Coast 1%, Togo 1%, Ghana 1%. Opia one dynamics are sometimes you cannot compare the two because obi more free school than other, obi more rules than other, obi economy any sovereignty. It is linked to Central Bank of France. Into homo economic primary parameters no are basically France. The you compare Asempa to industry performance, but not Asempa to Oman FM. When it comes to total performance, no, and they say Asempa one year maybe a way or yes Oman way or my yes no we want no yes no we challenge different way near my saying intino. We do industry performance. So they can say industry grow 2%. Asempa grow 1 or more than the industry. And that is why global performance rather should be the benchmark. Because countries have their specific factors. What I mention I say. It will time and we are see about 2 or 2 point something now. You need 15.4. And now we are see between 8.8 or 8.5 to 10%. Yet the about 33.7 and say about 33.7. O calculate here is about 282.95%. So even with all the problems we have, because I'm talking about inflation because your portion domestically yes it affect you, but majorly baby you're to free. If you spend about 90% of your fund on the things you use in your country, it means the strength of your economy depends on that economy. Some kotobo dear name meko every abofo number ton one kind. Near say abofo jan BBS so and meko near ton $1 and a $4. Fan was boasa kosraka home. Miss me be me de emfaso to so me side for plane a house de bekoso. As much as we show empathy, say the president here na o show empathy yin name say Ghana yedi. It will be a share that sentiment. Let us discuss this in a certain context. Untimen ka say be mo ye adwuma every day. Ye mani sika o ye hwe ne yire ne ne ma. BBS etina adwuma kofom enye ono ne fault. Bia ya re bibi. Enti pese ya access na hoden compared to time na hwensi okwa adwuma no. It doesn't make sense. But maybe understand NDC people because of politics. And maybe we are I'm coming. What's saying?
I don't want to interrupt you.
That's already
noted it. No.
What I say? Before COVID,
Yes.
now UK inflation rate was about 1.74, and then a core 10.1 and about 8.8. In terms of percentage increase post COVID, 405%. It would have say world. Oh, Charlie, the oil is wrong. When you're talking, I was so quiet. No. Don't distract me. You know what
I'm just shaking my head. And I have every right to shake my head.
I'm not saying don't shake your head.
Analysis, and I don't see it.
Because you don't understand.
Okay,
Because you don't understand.
I won't do you don't understand and you understand.
Yeah, because you don't get it.
I'll deal with it.
Proceed.
Yeah, to say, the preamble I'm establishing is say, Mepacho, I dare show Yankra for butchery. Watch Yankra, maybe watch Yankra. Or not, yes, any Yankra material. Bibi Yakra. It was so catch him says a ho and Yamaboa Kosra affect you. No, me without. It is this simple analysis. And now because we have differentials or specific risk factors. It will be a friend systematic risk factors. A general. And you specific next say systematic risk factor. Just say, yeah, oh dear maybe. Even though miss me a media per house, no. Yes, that differences now be very difficult to compare the performances. What do you say? Because a big grandpa what here. What you may at the $1 million and a share you may. If you are at the 400,000. And what is done best is to compare the performance of Asempa to the media industry, because you get the average mean value. This thing, how can you say you don't understand? So I won't tell you that you have a problem with your financial mathematics. The Americans are saying that is my point. That doesn't mean that we cannot complain. That doesn't mean that we cannot complain. When the president was talking about 6 months' time of dealing with importation of certain goods and services, no? First, we need 20 kroma, and a president make a statement to even ensure sanke be jani be akra good any AGI omokontokwa. Yeah. Because we kra na we produce. 2. Ontimi nso omo mka say bani ni nyina no Nigeria ye bi no. Omo kasa out of sentiment. Ya to say see me check ye no. 2017-2018 you produce rice you consume ye 1 million metric tons. So you ask yourself, see a cattle rice importation see about first year, second year no. Yentimi produce what will happen. And yet they turn 1 cedi no, they turn 1 billion. Because kakro mo de beba asembeba. Adios na me getting right to you. Ghana, your market ni nyina no. Complete value chain and yet total competitive market. And no correct. And no correct. So one of the things I'm expecting see say you be running not absolute free market economy, but mixed market. You can't mix market economy. And near there's competition. A lot of people are selling. It's on the market. You leave it so that the market will decide the price. But near oligopoly, cartel or monopoly, there should be price cap. No restricting price. Because yaka bibi to say rice. Esro on nipa do say ntimikra rice bagana. Nipa do say we dey mibusa. So they can form a cartel despite the hardship. Be omo omo ni amabade board ni ade no. They can form a cartel and charge anyhow.
94.7.
It me wo tumi a I would rather operate a mixed market economy rather than absolute free market economy. Because profiteering in every society, if you live it, people will do that. And even the developed economies, they do that. When they think, say, monopoly or cartel in BB distorted market prices are, they come out with price cap. So maybe the president talk about 6 months because, and now way, when the guys say, what you chop mummy and cram money a day, once you have not made preparation to feed your country, or even the preparation you made is not enough. And that is why I always say this. Even though I'm an MPP man, 1D1F to me is the best thing we need. In fact, unemployment, currency issues, inflation, because you need producing. Because all producer, you create value chains. Baby, I didn't hear. Because factories here, cleaning, packaging, labeling, but what we sometimes fail to do as a country is to sit down and do proper scientific research and know say okay see say anka yen krabieba ni padodo anka dodo say ni edi average a year ebi wa run ebi a time series analysis bi ehun say for the past 40 years population increase by be 2% anka die increase by be 2% into ebi a 1 million ton a year asase dodo say na wo Ghana ye dua anka wo so ebeye. Now what goes into the entire value chain? You bet me about by 2 years time now. You bet me you be feed 1 million. You do that analysis, and you be defining everything. Jobs will be creating, percentage of your GDP are expected, reduction of import-driven economy. It's very easy, and difficult. But sometimes when the end is people, we don't go into that thing. Eti metian castle be try importation so I feel best factory beba no na capacity no kwenyan kan feed no and as kraman so that so. Okay. So these are the things we need to look at and develop probably about 3 maximum 4-year program. No agricultural produce and I'm talking about no me say within 3 years Media no can no man change the story no man a tight and because we are not a serious people. Obi a propaganda and worship. Obi be change you no. Me say within 3 or 4 years, yes she no agricultural product or produce and say imported. Akoko. How? Na tetene na no import akoko no mu ni enwi akoko. Eno kura na technology kura bi meto ye. And you be ante say nei. Ye ni machines ni me. E kura sen koko a no mu dua na so ye. So what goes into the preparation, the design of your complete value chain from inbound, that is from your raw material base, and then the processing, then the operations, and then your marketing and other things, you know, will be designing in no. Papa, it will be so easy. Obviously, I have a trade ministry, agric, finance, food and drug board, standard authority. Ya fan crofo we abu. So man transi. Now within 6 months, for research mra. For all the fruits in Ghana, Crow region ben you do a bisu assassin. Next year saying agric for one soil test and see a nitrogen within 6 months. You say a buy committee system $1 million. We can produce all the fruit juice we need in Ghana here because production and require complex value chain. Can't we do it? But
the point is that can also we in a medium to long term. At the end of the day, I think Sisi say Ghana in a OTO na and okoto be a born a cost no. And I say the fuel price a cost so what can be done the next few weeks?
Situation way you bomb every day, you recycle into your papa mean case short term ho. Mama short term be brave or Ghana have people person so even the confidence of Ghanaians me go to me make us a Land Cruiser a bank because they say panic ka ho. And the media, and the mini Joffrey, you didn't come and a pautioma. Do make a can be a shoe, Nanyama Bokrabecoso. Ninaka Hundi. But government can do something. And also Bema, Safia na, you free the destructive interference of waves. A bar market, some noise in a bar, and another president take 7 or cano.
Says you can't pay the
simple no go for what you say, and be changing stories. Say, Sadia and a banner, Safia mongering, I didn't bar market now. Affected prices. It means me a president. All Land Cruisers, with the exception of ABF and say defense minister, chief of staff, or no president, one or more border on securities near them. Land Cruiser will be unpacked. If we hear Juma maximum 2 liters, and they use to call saloon car. Ebia and also make a other experts also no. Maybe see even seminars near the Reggie be any day on her. Rather than say you go to the big hotels, no be so and also Jessica, which I understood. What the American say, you have say her ministries here. Are they go? Baby, you bet me put 2 women into 2 skyscrapers. Could you back her? Only less than 2 years. Expo no see and then it was so hundreds won't see also. I went there to do inquiries. I can show you my report, my research work there. Here hockey saying we can get about $7 billion within 5 years because Ghana baby international community things are peace wa. And one of the fertile areas for even financial hub and industrial hub about so okay many tax when you messi we nyina ha Dubai o many tax but cost you know charges no on service near there a tax. There are a lot we can do. There are institutions that we can merge them. To me, I don't know former president America but and then this so me as an politics I am mpe but okay almost youth in agric youth in road the friend say road I quite to Tom friend say pothole ning na ba TV so sameboa they did the same thing. So when I'm saying why are NDC MPP no difference kakra bi o say bia any about pro policy we are ahead of NDC. But mistakes in any problems in a Ghana for can recycle. I will say be a banker say quickly because of ABCD. My merge a be a institution ABCD. Oh, it be a deputies here by 10. My assessing will make my name any here. Oh, may you 3. I can 2. I can wait. My assessing in my year working on this is how much we can save. And we can also in the short term. But also apart from that, technically within 3 months, I been with my magic. I'm a big problems here. What here you can US, you know, they have better technical men than us. Young can they are more developed, more experience. Only democracy be there 500 years. And go with the common post COVID, the common solve your problem within 3 months. Because there are issues that economically or socio-economically, short-term approach will not do anything. It may mitigate one or two things because of public statements and quick decisions. Because talking about cutting down, say John Busa question, I agree with him 100%. Say you see a cutting of 30%, 20%. New pattern, how much is it felt?
Yeah.
What work went into it? Menka say it's wrong. Ebi omu ye ba minim timi condemn you. But me media me yabaya and compare what is happening no. As early as March, now I'm running the friend correlation analysis. O pick discretionary spending sir, expenditure variables now fall within discretionary area of the government.
Yeah.
94.
You can run correlation between those variables and the GDP growth. No one will say we no and impact GDP. It me if you okra nya he. Once I told you aduane bi awu di apart from ne den na ade no ade hwe to your system. Inti abansi me training nyina with facts and figures to show. But me keep it kakra way, it will impact us by this growth or this amount. Meaning say they make out masia.
Yeah.
So maybe that all those works should have been done. MPP and DC said the mini agent. They be a kind of try, but we don't do what we are supposed to do. Go into it. They do proper analysis, financial analysis, mathematical analysis, have your figures, because you cannot control anything and manage it when you cannot measure. Because it's the measurement that will let you know where you're coming from, where you reach, where you're going, and then use that as a benchmark to control what you're doing. But to make it say, nay, if we are seeing say, I'm affected Ghana because what's in your first 3 4 years now COVID me pacho na sanity o the emphasis simple be kron ko school
so under an IMF program
yeah we under IMF na me he ma me kan chiro me ono me ni nyina atra IMF na ase na me nimu da chese ne IMF hia enye IMF na program aye it's not true Opa Frank abana your program
they approve
baby but you know why your program IMF work at say a program to woman a shop boy as in say oh na me ho sa opa fry me for
no but you do your program they would have to approve
so I'm a program approve say o me na ma usika so your program na you okay na be boa na bi so me do my advice aka ho that's what I want to say
no na say no ntina after staff level no e was say call board
that be the free IMF
2019
eti o be so ka che me say free IMF no and a COVID Russia war armor etika Ghana be yesi because unim
I'll give you some
when COVID came and Russia war came so abeka on my way mu first time in the history of this country that I know enye because of war yesi mo obi ankwa adwuma ntrafie do you know say if the whole country doesn't go to work even 1 week or 1 day do you know how much it cost us
yeah I get that
when him say COVID and niyama ba no private sector had to sack over 40,000 people. It affected our pay, corporate taxes, production was almost zero.
Okay.
For a long time, for a long time, people turn a queer juma, a say 5. Even Nancy and this year, Nancy and them so market. It affected your free impaired product economy when you have impaired productivity. Two things happened. One, impaired productivity affect your GDP growth. And once your GDP growth is affected, your cost to your debt to GDP ekosoro because GDP will form.
Yeah.
And the BBSC mun kwa adwuma when you say eti production and productivity awuhia no won kwa adwuma wo fuom kofom ba o ma bedidi o ba num nsuo ya be so light eti na ma aban we no alternative to financing your program na ya bosia because you running revenue shortfall of over 11 billion get to about 12 billion.
Okay.
What I make it to say eti say won kwa fuom na won kwa adwuma bada bia udidi a woji etuo ana obobosia etuo no so kofom because economy ni nyeye na nkrofo atua to bebre etina affect wo ama denominator na yeketoa but wo spend it. This is a fact and don't let us think say first time yenya we the year 2000 our debt to GDP was over 150% and no cry enkum nipa
steka messing about who
last one they and then say in spite of even the hardships yenya you picking some of the parameters no Obi, all the economic parameters we have in our country today, some, in fact, much more, are still better figures than we took over 2016. GDP is better. Interest rate is better. Menkasa yeah, policy rate is better. Policy rate was about 25.5 and then 24.5. GDP was about 3.2 and then higher than that. It's about 3.84%. Samebua. lending rate was about 40%. And then no. And to me, say, even with this situation, apparently something that had never happened. The situation is such that any other government would have gone through this. But yet me any paying who COVID time said the baby will be weird. And the point I'm making is that short-term approach will be here, will be also a debate. But the situation that we have in, no government can do magic. Say within even 2 months. Political talk.
JJ, that is the point I want to make, and I think it brings us back to short-term actions. I was saying, but I say it's looking like it's impossible.
I'm not saying it's impossible.
No, like
get me well. And yet the way they talk is so easy and
easy, sir.
So short-term exchange rate about 5 cedis.
Sure. Or say
for short term,
and yet that is it's easier said than done. JJ.
Yeah. The average lending rate moved up to 31% in 2016. This page 16, paragraph 83 of the budget statement as presented by Ken Oforiata.
Okay.
Stikano 42 now.
2017 budget.
This is 2017 budget statement, and I'm talking of the average lending rate. You said 42 or 40. Yes.
What is 2016?
Okay.
What is 2017?
You
check the banks. Call about 5 banks.
I've quoted the budget. The budget is the official document presented to Parliament. This is 2017 budget statement and economic policy.
Client.
You get the point.
I'm talking about practicality.
You know, stikani nsema wakakawa hano. Yamfantunche. 2. Stikama a lot of short-term measures. Wama bebre, lankrusa. Yentwetwam nsuo yebesi dan won nsuo so bebre. I'm asking myself, what was the president doing? It's not your mama saying consultation. This man is 10 times better than Ken Oforiata.
No, that experience or Mimi will be. No, when you have propaganda talk, the same Oforiata was growing this economy 7%.
Doc, yeah, Pacho, relax. Oba, yeah, back, you can make all those points. Me Pacho, let him talk. Oh, that.
Nastika can be a no manage home papa.
Propaganda no be you. John,
you can't be an oasis of knowledge in economics and finance. And yes. Sometimes you are wrong, sometimes you are right. I'm saying that inflation. And I heard them do. I call that voodoo economics. This issue of inflation and moving from Yamfan say Europe. Inflation. Wait, listen to me, Obi. At Yamfan Yamfan say Europe. Inflation near 1%. Mebwa. It moved from 1% to 3%.
94.7.
In terms of the spread, no because say 200%.
200%, sure.
So 3%. Ghana they 15. Now moving from 15 to 30. And 100%. Are you telling me your situation is better than that? Is that what you are saying? Because you just don't say things. You say things.
Boss,
bring board here. Let me do the calculation.
Allow him to finish.
We do the percentage increase is done by the
sticker, turbo. Mani sticker. Honorable. Me pacho. Odi your calculation will papers. Mani kasa. Oria you do yours. Me pacho.
Yes. Is B over A minus 1 times 100 or B minus A over A times 100.
Thank you.
I'm telling you that when you move from 50 that's the problem with him. And you won't listen.
No.
Sticker. Oh, Kasa, ye ko mani nwie.
calculation.
I know very people any calculation. Never to Facebook. Never a professor of mathematics.
Sticker. I am not interested in that. Let him finish. Sticker.
But you haven't done finance more than me. What is the issue?
Sticker. Let him. Dabi. Honorable Dr. Sticker. Dr. Sticker. Why mistake? Maninwe Oriana why you dey na right no. Maninwe.
From 1 to 3. A 200% increase. Deny that.
Fact.
Do the calculation. Deny it.
No.
That's all I
use
said.
the figures we have.
Me say 1 to 3.
Use Ghana's figure.
Sticker. You are disrupting the program.
I'm not. Boss,
Maninwe ne die no. I will take yours. Allow him to.
But you shouldn't say some about Abra on one tier.
Don't worry. O de remember Maninwe ne die no.
Okay, Obama Musuma It's all losing
the calculation for betre there. Ni o tia de na say.
JJ me pa chot.
Me say who 1. Now got 3. A 200% increase.
100%. So use that for inflation. Me say what I say, I agree with you. But use that for calculation that I did.
Oh, they let him finish.
Use that for what I did.
No, he will not use yours.
He's not even listening. Until you make an
yes. I smart. I
say 200% good.
Would you need 1%? Say a movie 1, I got 3%. That is a 200 percentage point jump.
Sure.
Remember? And I'm saying, Ghana, you 15.
15.4.
Oh, you see, I want people to
so
follow.
Hypothetical.
Yes. Boss, you don't figure
no.
Hey, Papa. So only figure now. I don't know use hypothesis.
Ghana, they 15.
Not a quarter. Is that not 100%?
Sure.
That's 100. This man is now at 3%, despite a 200% increase. You are 30, despite a 100% increase. You can't say, sir, who you better off than or not. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Because in a
he's not responding to Adi Awaka or can I say?
You see, a tier for a tier. They will make a lot of people who are listening. Oh, make all
analysis. I'm saying,
Honorable Sticker, Makase, now you are disrupting the program. You will allowance for Sani, oh, yeah, I'll give you time. Let him finish. Yes.
All I'm trying to let him understand is that Obi a lower rate and a lower baser is very easy to move higher. In economics, that's how it is. Into over economic growth, it's a product cycle. You start from the bottom, go up, hit down again, go through a trough, and go up. When you are at the bottom, it's very easy to go up. But as you go up, it becomes a bit more difficult. Until it's about the 15%, it's difficult to get to 20% as compared to Obi or that 1%. Everybody who's done economics will tell you, say, so we're a lower leveler. Going up is not that difficult. Secondly, inflation is already a percentage. We're not talking of nominal figures. Inflation is the rate at which prices increase on the average. Using in this sector, most of you use CPI. You can use other index, Les Payers, but you use a CPI, which is the consumer price index based on a certain basket, given a weighted average to the various product bands. No one the rate of inflation. Now you can't rate of inflation. No mass. Rate of inflation. Econometrics and then memory. He knows it. He knows it. I've had that debate with him on this econometrics before. Or Babak, I'm right. He knows it.
Then I'm right.
When we're doing time series, you came back and came and confessed.
They can't say right for this.
Inflation simply means say ahina area purchasing power. Simple. That's the basic definition of inflation. Ebia usika 100 cedi over the period no purchasing power no. Sena esote. That's all what inflation means. Until one moving from 1 to 3. Yes. You might think it's a huge, but no, based on the disposable income, no, I win 3%. One moving from 15 to 30, a real 30%. Who is better off?
Can I come in here, beg?
No,
Just so that let's solve this
note
one.
it.
No, no.
Note
This
it.
is where they are in.
Oh, Kasa Bebre.
We are
Yes,
all
sir.
learning. Where they are
I know.
having Mr.
I know.
1 minute.
I know.
Ma'am, 1 minute.
I know.
Maybe I want to them.
Maybe JJ Memfamano. Okay. On this.
I just hope say.
We'll change the story.
Follow her.
We'll change the story. What I'm saying is that
Okay.
Ghana, basically, we depend on the foreign economy. Basically. So the prices of goods and services on their market affect us because we import them. That when even the global inflation rate was somewhere averaging around 2%,
94.7.
our inflation rate here was 15.4. When you check that increase, it doesn't matter its percentage. You still have figures that you can do that kind of differences. It's acceptable. You can check because there's increase. Just that the unit is in percentage. It was 15.4. Now the global inflation rate is between 8.8 and 10. We are about 33.7. So if you even check the percentage increase, ours is around 300%. Even they that were not having this problem, the difference between us and those we depend on economically was about 700%. This is what I'm talking about, and the
So
figures
can I
are
now
there.
make my progress?
So continue.
Okay.
This is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
In inflation, no. So a smaller, lower figure, it's not difficult to move up. But when you inch up to a higher figure, it's difficult. It becomes more difficult, just like economic
move up.
Now let me give him a clear example. Or say imported inflation. That's all he's trying to say. All he's trying to say is about imported inflation. A cost it will impact you because we import it.
Yeah.
Crude price.
Is it true or false?
Wait, let me give you an example. Crude price at the beginning of the year, now you're 96. A kosora could do better 96 meboa. Until now every year by that corresponding figure.
Even over 100.
And a call over 100. Until the crude yeah price wahano a kosoro meboa. Because a whole kosoro no. Now how so your day a kosoro and at about 96. Your price above. It's simple logic. Now you're 96 now. Now your price and you're 60 50 pesos. A kosoro 100. And your price no started to air kosoro. Okasa yes you well market price no. Air kosoro.
Yeah.
And at the form abedru 96. Say air kosoro na ye be kosoro dia. Sanka air ba form you would expect a corresponding fall. It doesn't work that way.
This is different because there are tax components. Tell him.
I've told you that tax no crab form.
He knows.
The tax is static.
Since it's here, static.
It's static.
Tax, yes.
It's
And you're static and you're ad valorem.
Exactly. But if it's
Yeah,
static,
because
what will happen?
No, it's static.
Constant.
It's a constant.
So constant. So what is making our price go up? Ask us.
It's the exchange rate.
What is
No.
Alright, the
but the exchange
depreciation.
rate? What has also increased our exchange rate? What is one of the major
You
causes?
see.
Maybe so.
So we is
Is it not high demand for dollars? Is it not as a result of buying from them?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying
So
this
yeah, we now where you
simple
win this
analogy
war.
say
Stop.
price are cost no. That is not the only factor. That's all I'm saying.
That's the only
Other
factor.
than that, Senka price.
majorly is the factor.
Now you are
But you also correct him. Say I
If
never
it's
said
majorly
it's the only factor.
sticker,
Oh, you are not doing me any.
No, but you are not being fair to me.
You
You are not being fair.
because did I say it's the only factor?
Sticker.
So
What's
don't
the
allow
majorly?
him.
Sticker.
Of course.
Okay, so let's analyze the crude.
But
If it's majorly,
Why are you taking
add
only
the above
one?
from
Why are you
sticker,
taking only one item?
Sticker.
Is that how you do your
Sticker.
economics?
You should get to that
But he's
point.
deceiving
Obi
people.
can't somehow note. You
you
have the time
yourself.
to
Wo
respond.
wankasa. No, me but wo wankasa say. No, nati na ko wo wankasa say in the Europe no. Omo inflation number from 10 to 8.
Yes.
No one now can. We say Europe perform about 10% to 8%. So why is Ghana's inflation continuously rising? I mean, what kind of analysis is that? I mean, where's we free? People are suffering 30-something%. A real purchasing power by 30-something%, almost 40. You can't do away. I quantum leap this, quantum leap that. Where from that analysis? It doesn't make sense to me at all.
94.7.
Yeah, near Stephen Kaye. Any more Kaye na bako imponi president kasam. Na bo aka kire me. Any more Kaye o enumerate say yenye. Ubeti ministry so ubeye say ubeye correlation ubeye in any case correlation doesn't mean causation. The fact that you've seen a correlation, either a positive movement or a negative movement, doesn't mean there's causality. The fact that you've seen Obi putting on weight doesn't mean say mona would din money put on weight. Maybe now you're an ajo massage ye. Intina in econometrics, no, we go beyond just correlation to look at causality. And there's a way of determining causality and all those things. Because with the way correlation now they are calling policy. Why here then support now the man may year free may cheap. And in Ghana, we don't practice a free market economy completely. It's not true. Certain sectors are regulated. Petroleum products do not operate on a free market economy. ECG doesn't operate on a free market economy. Water doesn't operate on a free market economy. So to say we practice a completely free market economy is false. You may want to bring some bans in, fine.
But that's why he said, "Say onumpodi can a choice a mixed."
And I'm saying already, economy. No.
Yeah,
the Ghanaian market, there's an element of some regulation with certain products.
Okay.
Now, if you want to say more, you want to regulate it. It's not an immediate thing. You need to put certain measures. And I'm immediately worker say, what is the immediate thing we can do? As for the issue of industrialization, or that, we've been talking about it. Yeah, President, inaugural address, they're not kind. Also, he wants to move the economy from a Goggisberg economy. And then is not new. It's not new. As if they won't be before. Look, in 2019, the cedi depreciated by about 13%. Were we in COVID? That was the year we were moving from the IMF. Our debt to GDP increased from 56 to about almost 70%. I said, yes, about 70%. Did we have COVID? Yes, COVID would impact you. Ukraine will impact you. But if your economy is resilient, if your economy is well anchored, you can withstand some of the headwinds. Until Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, Ethiopia, they are doing better than us. And economics is a decision-making process. If you decide that you want to do free water for 3 months, 6 months, whatever, now 1 year down the lane, I have to suffer inflation of 37%. And I think one from in any case, when you look at the death rates, Ghana is not the best. And when you're comparing the death rate, you don't look at the raw figures. You express it as a percentage of the population. That is per capita. And yes, in Nigeria, you might think they're not doing well, but they have a bigger population.
Yeah.
Until most of these things, you express them either in ratios, in percentages, like to get a real impact. We spend too much. Why did we run a deficit of more than 15%?
Because we had to save lives.
And this also saved lives. They didn't run that deficit. So that should be a lesson to us. So saving lives doesn't necessarily mean you should run a deficit of 15%. To go save better lives. Look at our peers. Did we save better lives than them? Did we save better lives than them? The record is there. You can just Google and check from the UN website. We didn't do better than them. And when you say election pressures, they will say, no, I can't. The president wants to blame everybody, but he doesn't want to look internally and say, Diana, yes, free man, I think the president should learn from some of these things. And then we can see how we can address some of these problems. President Kasisi campaign did it. I agree with him. I agree.
Because I say depreciation may be bringing so yeah activity of speculators.
That is true. But speculation is part of the market system. Speculation is part of the market system. That's why there's even arbitrage. But you can't speculate forever. You can't profit from arbitrage forever. The system must correct itself. And then there's a problem. By President, 2014, 2015, 2016. Never paid the age of mama. See the night hata. I want the BN. Dr. Baumia, the CD would depreciate further. Look, at the point when we're struggling because crude prices had dropped from over $100 to $35, and the foreign exchange was not coming. The Chinese, we had a big problem with the Chinese. They refused to give us a lot of the things they wanted to give us. CDB, they were withholding, partly because of galamsey and other things. Things were tough. And like we all agree, the economy is not as resilient as we want. So sometimes you depend on some external forces in order to... We're struggling. These people never had mercy on us. At least President Mahmoud If you listen to him, he's been very magnanimous. He hasn't gone that route. He's asking, say, we should all consult, we should work together, we should do this. Yes, one or two people will be talking about their speculation and those things. But it is for you as government to demonstrate leadership and take the lead. That is what governance is about. I read a report from, I think, SMP as a criticized Bank of Ghana. Say they took some wrong steps, air hygiene, and that they shouldn't have done that. That's also a lesson. Because look, life is a learning curve.
Yeah.
You make mistakes, you correct some, you learn from your errors, and you move on. But when you don't even want to accept, so you probably made some mistakes. And Stephen talks about GDP growth. It's good. I'm not saying GDP growth is not good. But when you are growing your economy, you ask yourself, which sectors of the economy are you growing?
And you grow.
In Ghana, GDP is basically based on 4 items. Consumers, consumption, investment, government consumption, and the difference between your export and import. CIMG, these 4. And we use the expenditure approach contrary to the income approach. So as you spend, the final products or final consumption, you account for that and determine the growth. So if you go and borrow and come and spend, you will record a higher GDP. It's a worth. Maybe you 5 acres. Now I call Bobusia. No, I be expanding. No, I call 10 acres. You have a very big farm.
Yeah.
But who harvest here? Who bet tea 6 bags and now 10 bags? Now they are called 3 worker. So GDP growth alone is not enough. Even GDP, your debt as a percentage of GDP alone is not enough. Sometimes people look at your first level, which is the tax that you collect. Which percentage of that money do you use to service your debt?
Service your debt, no.
Because Japan, at a point in time, had 100%, which means the whole economy is debt. But they were probably paying just 0.5% of interest, and their revenue base was bigger, so they are able to do it. So just GDP, omokano. You have to go beyond that GDP and look at what that GDP is doing, the revenue is generating, the sectors that are contributing to the GDP growth, and whether the economy is being anchored well. And are very, very important. By I think 2017-18, we had a positive trade balance. It sounds good. Any country when you have trade balance are good because it means that
yeah.
Let's put it that way. But then you go and look at the primary balance. In oil, you are exporting a lot of oil.
Asempa FM.
You are seeing huge outflows. But the money doesn't come to Ghana. Gold, big one, seeing huge. The money doesn't come to Ghana. So we're telling them, say, look at the primary balance as well. Don't just say your trade balance is positive. That could be deceiving. Your deficit, they decided, they will report above the line, below the line. And Ken kept telling us, your deficit was growing low. Your debt basically is a function of your deficit. Because deficit means it's kind of soon. Now they are close to governor, then it hits your debt. What was the GDP growing at a faster pace? What's the deficit is growing at a lower pace? And yet your debt to GDP is growing. That's a mismatch. So when we raise these issues, these are legitimate, cogent issues. Going forward, I will be saying
in terms of the short term, yes.
First thing about should focus on food security.
Food security.
Yes, even if it means some projects will have to delay. Like National Cathedral. Yes, Nyaminim say Yashomno. Nyaminim say PTC Cathedral.
As a National Cathedral, they've been clear saying, yeah, buying Sika no BC.
Yeah, they can neighbor. What am I namra?
More than neighbor parliament.
Yes, you would see the amount of money a government are pushing into this National Cathedral. They told us beginning say she ain't see me boy.
Yes.
Later we heard Saban Masi.
20 million B.
David J. in 200 and something million. It came out, said David J., the consultant.
Yes.
Sabani TI. Even the clarity is not there. So I think government, and now I read a report, Minister of Agriculture, self-feed the trucks, eco transport,
in market centers.
I hope they are contracting some private people. I don't know how they're doing it. But I know, there's a lot of foodstuff currently stuck in the hinterlands and at farm gates. If they can have an aggressive program
and bring them
to the center. It would cushion the system a bit.
The other immediate way.
Yes, the other one, your fuel consumption, and I agree with Stephen. Government consumes fuel, government consumes a lot of fuel. If government can decide, say, cut it down on fuel now, I know it's a bit severe.
But have they not done it? Because the last time I'm in a presidential correspondent Dean Komono, he made a point that some fuel allowances be as tough as Nibi Wono have been cut.
What's the impact? I want to see.
Yeah, I think that's what we should call for.
The other one, your travels. Conference are here. Make a conference, but when I look at the amounts, I say, look, some of this conference we should clear some for now. We can do virtual conferencing. Yeah, those buying the government, if you take the judiciary, the executive, the legislature, yeah, those. I think we should cut down
the cost of
travels.
Administering Ghana.
It's very high. It's very, very high. And some of the agencies, the cost of one CEO and a deputy, ne remuneration, ne allowances, ne niamano, ukaboma, a chain even 50 staff down the lane. Even when we're talking of staff rationalization, it's not the man receiving 1,000 Ghana, 700. It's the big boys there. MPN now has 2 deputies. And I mean, they had no deputy. When we're in power, they had no deputy.
Now, CEO
Now they have 2 deputies. There's not one, say, so many 3 as 4. I mean, why?
Sir, one for finance, one for administration, one for operations, and I think there is another one.
It's finance and administration. We've always known that. Finance and administration exist. Even parliament, do we need 275 MPs? Ghana. You don't believe that 200 MPs with well staff, graduates, research assistants who can do a better job? But we don't have research assistants.
I don't know meaning say who person other colleagues be cutting here now.
Maybe me. My other colleagues. I can say we back to work. But there's even talk of increasing it.
Yeah, to
yes.
Yeah.
No, can you imagine bringing 25 more MPs? With all our allowances and those things. You know, we should look at and a restructuring there. We have to do it.
Look, of the
we have no choice. No, the bonds and those things.
Okay.
Government, we have no choice. We just have to restructure.
Yeah, debt. No?
Oh yes.
And President said that will be done by 2028.
And look, right there, I don't want to, because he won't be in power. Or 2025 would assume office, and we might have to tweak it.
Who would have
to
do?
The MD is so
now I wasn't what you
and baby, more 80 of you, Marco size. Maybe your number.
One the cowboy say, 80 number. Me number no.
But the majority leader has confirmed.
That's confirmed. Majority leader confirmed say 80. 80 days.
Well, yeah, no, yeah. Say, yani asi abani.
Adiochi, mo amo se ma. Akolo team na monama.
Me dey me nka ho.
You will you free.
Na so say 80. Yeah, do we say?
Yeah, mo 138 in the end.
And this is my argument I was talking about. You see now the policy you are doing with.
I know what it is.
So
I know correct.
So
I'm interested in your reaction to that anyway. I'll come to you.
No, not
all about short-term measures.
Restructuring in the short term, it has to be done. I'm picking saying as next week.
And our former president went to me and Kabakure.
Say,
oh no,
I
didn't okay.
So we should work immediately on this food security that I just mentioned.
Any short term.
You don't know? So we should use buffer stock.
In Miami Bebre or hinterland.
Or say this month.
Because I know Maduro,
or say this month. Yeah. A harvest season. And you have more buffer stock. No buffer stock for entered you and from farmers. Back over to me. Onim. And you've done better than the finance minister. One also workers will be in the finance minister.
Who told you we are not doing it? And then people and then see you can't food security. Why? Let's face realities.
Unemployment was 6%, and the unemployment is 13%. This is official record. Hope I'll just open. Made me 2 million. Lastly,
okay, finally,
I think say many President Akufo-Addo, I will swallow my pride and invite Dr. Stephen Amwa to do a presentation Because papa ne kasa wa ha no.
Propaganda.
What to enema mu odu. Bobby on lose over 7 billion a you were puso la party bicha.
Dr. Stephen Amwa. Doc, Kadi officer can
you see, Obi, somebody on my way.
Yes.
More fun, more serious than we see NDC for there. Omo, we as a policy in an say be diako into omo for money serious. Okay, because say correlation does not necessarily mean price what?
Mean causality.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you want to say? Was that statement important? I've grown with you, Hano. Until near mass, no, I can't idea to say class when you can't idea no can take.
That's not fair.
That's not fair.
Colleague parliamentarian.
No. But won't you all catch up some interviews?
No, we've gone past.
Oh,
that.
master.
We've gone past.
Because OBA, one of the best analysis anybody will understand. Then you trivialize it because you don't care about Ghana. The point I made was your budget, your atabaim you. When it comes to expenditure, what's a budget? Our revenue and our expenditure. Difference will give surplus or what? Deficit. About expenditure now, I want also one at a bank is you. Their friend is statutory, or share and rem, and their friend discretionary, and they know share. A buy bet to me, a calibrate prices near then also decision to increase a bit 1 million. Those items, government spend on them to increase or impact our GDP. A beer on a level of impact. It's a correlation. It's just a simple term to say you do analysis between Sanyamano and your GDP. Say beer, oh, maybe me manu kose manu cocoa manu sugar manu way fine. Obedi name a beer. A dear way I can hono. Ain't me money yini another for a kahokwa. Ain't me spreading misika. This simple analysis, you are trivializing it because you don't understand. 2, a persuade the other can want to ask because when him the culture of this country or in this country, one of the cultures I high and say, Yanya near Matasa brofu. It will be brilliant analysis. I calculating a near man. I'm crammed to a bit of mini experience. Obi a sabi you, Mr. Recon. My door fool. I am playing for my dear Sasia door fool. Edua me, edua body, edua banche. I go through processes of producing palm oil certified by FDA. Etua nkrofo etua tax. Yes, me mini experience o Ghana. A book. What to be that? Jamaica or Puanu nyina say Obi and then uko osuho nyina. Your government buildings were for about 20 years. Is where rooms will be hobby antim. I dilapidated. And your productive things or ventures. And to the Americans say government can put up a beer 40, 50, 60, 70 floors, 2 towers. Here movie agencies in ministries. And that global if only in a pass as a papa a day Urapuma or meeting a young musum businesses and I brought for crabby or administration were coming in crew. A beer Omian Asia Krubison. No, we are because of labor cost in the maybe. And time differences, no. At the end, China, when ideas are no my idea, bro. So I'm saying, this thing can easily be done within about 2 years. As I say, the government as a tax free. When we develop it for financial hub or industrial hub, the money that we will make, who go to buy and get tax no when you check it, one service tax, one I went there and engage them. Obi Kans and Papa, we are trivializing it. Who did you grow? Because I'm free and I will pay 2 million. That is not serious person or person with the idea. And the idea of former president Mahama Khan, yes, something I heard of Abeka say, well thought through, why you be different, new. Because the okay wasn't making sense. I can say that. But I do okay in idea every day talk will be I can was.
No, then I go for the new.
Every day talk.
He's your president.
Now even Bible crack say, and no by any idea bar. What you are making us? But the president also know in a Juma and a situation about watch how he improve upon him or that. Who's former president? What better Bermuda? Winning with the what tranche? What was experience? What would you also for new solution? Brother, no the buy. Say Yankoja Africa Cup on the airborne. The policy no. economic policy.
All Africa Games.
Economic policy. Economic policy.
Also, we should save that
because
that's why we.
Do you know how that thing even sell the country to prospective and potential investors? They don't even understand these things. That's the problem of the NDC.
What you are saying is 40%.
Remember, yet way ebi ayenye sika enko showcase Ghana to say Rwanda no e was CNN, BBC, VOA ni ade. But you can see a world or continental games were hard. These will be shown to the global players, all for about 2 months or 1 month, you know. Do you know how much you earn in a long term for them to see a Ghana or Africa country be a game? A half a nipa baho, be a community to say nipa nisuman security, and to only the potential only the investors. How can you make this statement? Because they don't understand. Only the BBI because they can take. They want to take. Some Americans, some if it doesn't make sense. They all can. Papa, one
he wants to die.
Obi, let me talk. The American say, when weakness, mamma no say. Who's as American? On candy, what can no, I say, okay, see a wetty. Me, I won't catch you. And the tear for Belgians and me, I'm a tea in a Macado or no can. Yes, and you all can wet you. You should say what I've said and challenge it.
Okay.
Don't go and bring. Now, all say you better all African games. I showcase Ghana. You will investors. You pursue a mind to pong. Now, some games, you know, only in terms of economic generation, you be generate to businesses will boom. Sikababa dollars here can be spend the I feel the presidency
the finance committee meeting when the committee appeared.
Presidency
you don't have the money to do it.
Oh, please.
The All Africa Games.
Yes. They are 12 weeks behind.
Oh, Papa. Yakwati adena.
Pastor guy, you bet me aye. Can we?
That is the question.
You bet me aye.
You ain't me say.
Okay. Obi, mark this day.
Say there be the American says a president and say to say John Eken. You ain't me yet. Sikani ho. Nti yenya any different.
We brief him.
But men can say ho achire ye.
No, the
because to me, the economic benefit you benyano, cost benefit analysis, a huge.
You came
next year.
You see,
next year
before President Mama,
man of little faith.
We brief him.
Okay.
We briefed him. Say, Africa Games, you know,
because one
are way behind because Sika Nanke Yako Jino. Unzananke they are phrase him never.
Sure.
Minister used to phrase him no for other purposes because you want here, which is understandable. And no says you want here there. Instead of say be embarrassment in your man, we should say your mama yedin. You ain't me host the Africa Games now.
But and you're too late in the day.
But you see, it's better than embarrassing the nation when you cannot host it. If they think they can host it and they disagree with President Mama, fair enough. It's a suggestion he has given.
But that's all
you are from the government side. No, wait. Me say we briefed him.
Yeah,
for instance, Torn is animal. Many
Mama time.
It is a word just a President Mama. You can't. One in the year.
Mama time. Any one to briefing us.
Now would say they okay.
President Mahama say one of his measures as a cutting that costume say my hosty. I different from say Yenisika Sabia Yenisika Yentini Yenye. Don't know.
Nanke was going
on to the Ekosiisen. Now the Ekosiisen hosty. This country always and will continue in a foreseeable future operating the firm Russian budget, limited budget. And until that ritually your deficit. So why? And it's also try and when you're seeking in answer, Massa volleyball crown you be ukru. Because this country near one Obroni Frebi effective tax rate. Yani culturally a negative. The kind of effective tax rate. One of the simplest explanations is say a basic spending on Ochani goofy organ in Yinaswa. Taxes are buying general. So Ochani are buying so a tax when you low revenue and na o compare dia wachegu efie no so nyina o Ghana no oh dia wachegu efie no nyina so o Ghana eso say ye ne aban de all government enti no ritually no you operate the friend negative effective tax rate ye ne your budget generally unless there's an outlier situation BBBA enye normal a deficit we hardly maintain surpluses. It's here the whole kind of side. The president never emphasized the point that you need to continue. I say one of his measures are or recommending say a person cut down costs. So what it means is that what they also can say venture where they can.
We can also make.
Opa, maybe no. Opa Kotiene Kasano. And America said the president and his team had not sat down to analyze the potential, the benefit, the prospects in terms of selling this country to the world. 1, 2, foreigners that will come here and spend money and give us dollars. On her son, and 3, jobs are a bit creative, temporary jobs, and that may even give other people experience to have permanent.
Okay.
MPP and DC. One thing I've seen is criticism say constructive alternatives, and that is what the former President Mahama, His Excellency, I mean respectfully, I'm respecting the power. Unlucky. One year DC for they almost run it quick. Maybe when this year be a Kanyama many TMPP, maybe a Kenya do. They don't have patience to sit down. Says okay, so alternative the enemy. Then social democrat matra so what the PNDC cover 27 years. The flagship social intervention policy Omakama ko nipa tim de to nyom. Hey Okada. How can you sit there? Okada.
Can I come in?
What be that? So we Okada to two free school.
Okada right now.
The minister say they should always be patient. They should sit down, design proper alternatives, constructive one, beneficial ones. Alternatives are a one national and international character. Obviously, no matter the difficulty we are in, and for one who chile wom, Suku is one of the core functions of long-term growth of any economy and stability. It no matter what, as our Caribbean school, and that we are saving about 100,000 kids that would have stayed home. Any friend say, "Aban will develop for future." What do you buy and also Okada? Even school teachers and nurse allowance, so we can't need them. The year can say. Only the
offer recent speech now.
I'll respond.
Former President Mahama. One cash. I do the command the foot I want to know. Who can be chairman? Not here for you. Obi come back to chairman. Oh, Obi.
I'll go through the speech.
Oh, can I?
Let him respond to that.
Obi, that.
No,
Because you don't want me to come in. Obi,
you can't, bro.
President Mama. Yeah, the manifesto by Anamibwa.
Sure.
Your manifesto had thematic areas. It is a wound in my deck, a cranial already. You appreciate, say, look, the NDC had a very good policy. And you know, on this serious program, say, NDC, a policy, Okada. I mean, this is a very serious discussion. This is a very serious deliberation.
Make a proper policy. You know,
say, Kasa, let's give this program that elevation.
Obi, Mebua.
Oh, please. I kept quiet and listened to you. What can I Brown Tiasia? I kept quiet. I mean, what Tiasia president? What's the president? Mama and Tiasia. Who Stephen Amwa? You. And your politics. How can you come and say it here?
No, politics in Tianka. What my anyhow? Maybe no
I'm not close to you.
You may say, from what John said, any different.
Okay, the kind. Who was the president? Mama Tiasia.
Because the mom is communicating. And just
President Mama said, you will skill, you need skill, you enjoy. Is that what President Mama said? Yet you need skill, Obi. So the issue said, you will skill, you need skill, no. For you to even say, you will skill, you need skill, no. You don't even appreciate what is happening. This is the indicators from the Ministry of Finance. The first 2 quarters, your total tax revenue, your 30 billion. Is here. I read the documents. Let
me read it.
30 billion.
Do you understand I spoke about Russian budget?
Oh,
30 billion.
Do you know how much you spend on debt service? Do you know how much you spend on debt service? We spent 25 billion on debt service.
Okay. Now, I want to find out.
Obia and Tiasia just on
what be I can go Google. I to us. I made a figure.
Also, open the final say. Money you and
so okay. Oh, we are on
just 2 items: debt servicing and compensation. 40 billion
FM
against a tax revenue of 30 billion. So we are not in normal times. So this is not the time for this theatrics. Say we always. We are not in we always. We are in extraordinary times. Stephen, get that in your head.
Do you know that?
Individuals say always they running this budget. That is not always. If we had always been running that kind of budget, we won't come and sit here and be talking of short-term measures.
But is that not true?
You don't get my point. We are not doing a ration budget now. We are in a deep hole. You can't even pay your interest.
Budget? You don't even understand your own terms.
One say one. And now you won't take time and learn.
Sure.
You see, you
can have a PhD. I'm learning from Wo John Jinapo. What is the difference between Russian budget and what you are talking about today?
Dr. Stephen Amwa.
I'm not fighting. Stop propaganda.
So keep quiet.
No, I'm not fighting. Don't do propaganda.
Dr. Stephen
Amwa.
Doctor.
And correct here, he's misinforming the public.
So let him wait. Now the proper information.
One figure, you just go and get some dictionary. I'm giving you figures. Show say we are in a deep crisis. And I may say, finance committee, you approving exam. Approving exam for all African games. Finance minister and first Canaan. Saying here normal times, because we are not in normal times. Or this kind of support for balance of payment against what we originally envisaged. And Mama said, "Mama, you dim. Senka kaononko African Games, let's suspend it." It's a proposal. If you think you can still do it, but so no, President Mama, there be no work. We haven't reached there. You will sky a bit me. You be in the camera. But over time,
but his argument is yes, even though we might be in difficult times, say Oshe the potential boost in the economy now.
Fantastic.
You bet me appropriate.
Do you have the money to do it? Finish. Yes, it has potential.
Okay.
Advertising was CNN. It boosts your.
Sure.
Do you have the money to do it? In corporate finance, when you are in crisis, you cut certain things, even games, fan games. Yeah, the boost company, no. But you cancel fan games.
Yeah.
All of us have done some basic management. When you are in crisis, you cut certain things. Award night. Say the boost to employees.
Sure.
But say bonuses. Say it boosts employees. It gives them that. But when times are difficult, you focus first of all on survival.
Asempa FM.
This thing is talking a long time ago. Ghana, buy Ghana, you say investors, but good. But can you afford it now? If you think you can, assure Ghanaians that you have the money. You can. He says based on his briefing, he thinks that it will be difficult. And was based on the situation, buffer stock, no based on your situation, you toll and refinery. Based on your current situation, Commander Sugar Factory, you say, despite the challenges, you bet me manaba up near Jai sugar importation. I think these are laudable ideas. If you think they are not necessary, and then your president Bekan, and they new, and they solve a problem now. And there's no splitting of heads.
Very well.
But this idea of when him she, when him say,
and they own alcohol by you.
Meanwhile, when they mention just one, I don't say anything. No. But me, I can't say I'm not near Wokai, who economy is number. One tiasia, and Enko Yanameka. Then he gets angry and even accuse you of it.
But you make
very well. What correct? 36 after 6.
No, man, you know, Obi,
honorable.
May make us me with a question back. Make a figure and a man can figure.
No, earlier conversation.
Make a figures, my boy. May never be a laptop. Maybe the laptop buy. One will be a laptop. Who could be a Google. Can me me three make me figures. Who moms win economics? Or say, see a games na abrofo any other country for one members ha ato any other hotel no a long term. Or bon brutal.
That's
I was saying a long term.
No. Now say unti me nka so be abon on my set.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's not fair.
But one so on tiase and then there's no can be chere me. Would you obi here? Ye program August. Hotels be yema. Ye beton nuane. Ye be say and a long term.
The fundamental question is
a long term.
Do we have the money to host the event now?
Obusa question it makes sense. But what I'm saying is a former President Mahama say me nka say wa bon and the old chima no esiboni. How can I say that to former President Mahama? I respect him. Enya me yonko kura no. But me say any one take the John can I say. That doesn't mean say wa bon. Ebi o man communicate well because according to John no, sikeni ho e de beye. But that wasn't the position of the former President Mahama. Or no patches and niema mu ayede into one of the things like yenya ye we. Be obi say me come bu a to hwe mani. Buza. So he doesn't understand what he's talking about. He doesn't understand. There's a difference between sikeni ho into kabaya munyai. And say ya ho akire eti munyai to cut down cost. There are two different issues. At your 48. Into who's say na mo kan ono so a different thing. And I'm saying I want to the mo kan ase. And I want ye. And chance wa bon. Ebi a wona wan communicating here ankyere no. You see John dey be up say odi niam di agro ka obi ho asem agro wona ni so. Say na hu minua no. O dey say but we are talking about serious matters. Serious matters na yaka ho asem. Who your former president what betra so be who be twa teachers allowance. Nurses allowance be twam. Cash and carry na yeko mo amunim. Eniam to pansam. Now wo be am na COVID assembly am I, and that's what I said. I want to say and to papa so. Baby, I need a coffee and near free and I'm a boy didn't say. Etika obey, a be our first appreciation of what is happening. Oh, if we are sena manaka Ghana and the correct. Name about steps we know and your papa. My name is Tim Yaye, your researcher who say your cramp, you say I'm from Sway, and we've been abana, but Mehuni said this would have been an upgraded version. Paradigm shift. New paradigm shift neighbor. And none of your friends saw something new ba. Na yencha yentia kaso. Yenyin krofo adi. Adi o da bia we so kra ma me kraka. O papa ka wo ti o wonte sa adi we da. Na just say this for omo da no ma da adi achi no ma be ka o ma dwene. And yes an ebu o man. Ghanaians want to see an alternative, something new. The sitting president there, when the 1F industrialization is going to improve upon dealing away with import-driven economy. How now, but who say, oh, Adiano, because you could have done better or this, and what you say, or better, no. So, on something new, he's improving upon a Jumapano, you know. I would say, Ben was say, I really bear who said, me bear cran and a son tiasem. Even though I come a school, and I'm a mention nunca. That's how leadership is. No better, hey. Propaganda, Kuan will be a Google. And I would tell you, because I to an Imbusami one figure. I grow near Diana.
And then yet Google a finance ministry.
Finance on Oifre, and your Google. On answer as my work idea. And finance data and Oifre in your Google no also the okay idea. I do actually done.
As a Google a search engine and the
exactly, but that's what I'm saying. So who's in your Google Oifre? Obi, would you a good Namanya, okay, be a man, and Quay Moni and Oba no to the brand, as Oba prepare. Me na me di me team, Emma figures no, or see me minimo, or no could be a dear or computer, so internet so all can, or so not yasi. And yana near can, whether metiasio, mentiasio, the situation in which we are today, any honest God-fearing person will say a global. But Obikachi say be a severity, no, I because on my long time, you fear near to 2 years about import driven idea, metiasie. So you cannot blame a Kufuado's government. You cannot, never. But in terms of any way, over infrastructure and social policy, Kufuado has done between Onone Mahama the unprecedented work. President Kufuado and former President Mahama. I mean, to correct my first pronouncement. Because Obi, railway, meaning who be that, Kwame Nkrumah de Mametuno, Bandana, the railway away from 92 basin and one Ibida. Beme constituency. About 26 communities. A mobile 20 kwaya yene the air. Samebua. And just your problems with roads. And then Ufrin sa home a year a corona branch and a cookibino.
Okay.
When Eastern region.
Yeah, minim.
Almost aquin.
Yeah.
And then me debate 15 minutes from some. So be and this year I did even 1 kilometer to Kumasi Accra Road. Interchange is a Kufu Adwaye, Ewan Crime, make Tamalio the Cancer 4-5 no. No boy, and that circle had ye. A kakateke interchange is 5 no. Then this is the Nantianya Nanisa. Say Ghana for say if we are saying day, yet which is true, we are saying the and that is why the president demonstrated that high level of empathy. Of Ghana for ATNDC. Now to all the Uba Amobiawai, if you want trade, went to an angle. Oh, Obana Jad would not come any performer. One and I was it. What the Obana Samami, I made a man and I accuracy. No, I said Oba Comano. I will be at the Ghana ha. Neba Eja school because allowance and what Jennifer Cobble Katanga Kumase, anyhow, Abaja. Nebaja nursing school. Obi and a man song, Obi not a theatre, say Kufa the Bana last 2. Etimia ko SHSN na omso baya the 4. Now I say Mahama no be twa me ba panya allowance money tefu no. Obasa to ababa no. The mistake the NDC guys are doing is that ahochira baba Ghana for say NDC nya alternative. Minka say from so ni aba. From so we aba ho. Yes you am from so bebre esre Ghana for mo fa ncha ye.
Okay.
But between the two Ghana today say league in here body a. League in here body no ha dia. Party bi ani hobiem.
Sticker.
Party bi ani hobiem. Ade ne say ewiase asai meboa. Ehɔ ne yeto ye niema meboa. Affect ye meboa ya mpa. Obeso ahyehya it will take some time. Etina na do nya nene mo say exchange rate every 16 about 13. And the bank manager bi ka kire me. Ye bom pae. Say urade beti esufre ne enhyehye papa kakra no ebeba fom. But me sra Bank of Ghana. Maminka lasting. They are doing well. But and the NDC, I engage Bank of Ghana on TV3. And the MPP, my engaging Bank of Ghana on news file. Ha! It looks as if, say, the use of the monetary policy. Yes, I review kakra. I mean, I say Bank of Ghana, the woman more experience than me. But if it's a monetary policy, no, it is only when inflationary rate is being caused by demand pool. Any pay tonium just to see car buy any jeba na ama inflation cost no increase policy rate.
Yeah.
But the situation where it is cost push, if it's supply no and a Ghana has even simply by observation, equity financing and popular. You can equity financing, your DNAC equity will be the way the other and our cash reserve and popular. Oh yeah, your bubble more. It is that financing popular, very profound. It interest rate is very key when it comes to inflation. It is a increase interest rate. No. They were targeting exchange rate. Okay. Implicitly, you can in a very mild approach. But if exchange rate is not so costly, I feel the very factors now we increase interest rate. You've done it like 3, 4, 5 times. Still, I didn't increase it. At least, yes, the same kakran. Bank of Ghana, they are struggling. Yes, we are saying I can. But it does a policy rate in a from kakra so they are because I think it is the other way around.
Okay.
And that is why we call something strategic drift. You catch strategic drifter or a strategy. But I didn't tell who designs our strategy to attain. When we are strategy, remember iOS. And to also look, they should also look at those areas, policy rate and even fiscal side, taxes we are Sikasa neje. Ya when the impact take a CBA. Si ate sukura no sukura de confidence ba. Media mesra ban roto no on san restore. Roto. Media me yaba am restore. Because a taxa obi tia on feel. Country bia no one of the areas are picking a bua obi. A taxa on manfoni tia they don't feel it. Nanso nya bibi. Yes ni nya about 700 million. Anya bonisa ban free ho. We are say decisions are regulated. Because dynamic nature, thought that way the back so the baby form. Because an another buy in the first year, taxes and maku be was it Dunsu and assassin?
Dunsu.
One to swa we free ho. So I can you condom tax and this animal in every one. A chain or the base 6 be by a chair do wake a crab. Okay, and this buy no. Within 2014, 15, 16, taxes in 26, so 24 state budgeting. edu baby no ubeyi bi afiri di beka ho enti me dem feel say road tax your friends saying road toll tax no
ensaimra
yensan famra ene na yenti fuel taxes ne so yen withdraw yenti pay calculation amount ani yen every month na road toll yenya no yen famra na taxes na that fuel no so no
yes
no so amount to be say no yenyi free so because fuel no impact no e was very broad base minimum so what they make can
sure
abeboa ya media suggestion no si enya 700 million a month aban restore road to na fuel taxes because of baby fuel na ekono yenyi sa sika no so ye de enfio na psychologically no and build some confidence bi kakra ene ni da so obi me fi say eno so beboa ya
very well
thank you very much
Stephen Amoa bebrena friend sticker oye NPP MP for the Inshiayeso constituency in the Ashanti region, member of the Finance Committee in Ghana's Parliament.